everybody, I'm Megan Gagne and I work in Lynn, Massachusetts. I am applying to be an advanced rap facilitator. I love rap. I have been doing rap for a year and a half now. I took my training in Montreal. Shout out to Jane and to Rona. You guys were amazing. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about rap in general, how rap works. But I wanted to tell you a little bit about myself first so you can kind of get to know me, because it's going to be a long 20 minutes if you don't know me. Well, I am a facilitator in Lynn. I've run 4 rap groups. I'm about to start my I've run 3 rap groups, but I'm just starting my consecutive 4th and 5th round in 2 weeks. I've had great attendance. I've been really excited about rap. Rap has completely changed my life in really positive ways, mostly because I can be a bit of a space cadet, and rap has really helped me to stay focused, remember to be hopeful, and get things done. You'll read more of that though as you look through my paperwork. So anyways, let's get down to it. So there are many components of rap. The most important component of rap is hope. Hope is one of the things that I most identify with in terms of starting rap, being a part of rap, holding yourself accountable for rap. I would say it's the most important. Without hope, it's hard to move forward. You can really get stuck, and it's hard to know that things are going to get better if you don't have hope. So one of the most important things for me is making sure that people, when they attend group, have something, no matter how big or small it is, to be hopeful for. For me, I make sure that on my drive to work, like I said, I am pretty forgetful, so I have a post-it note on my whatever the thing is that you pull down in your car that shades the sun. So I have a post-it note on there. It's actually in the shape of a sun, and it says, "Do your rap today." And so for me, I would forget to do my rap. That's kind of my biggest downfall. But if I have that reminder every day to do it on my way to work, to think about my goals, to think about something that I'm hopeful about today, to think about something that's positive, and on the way home from work, I can think about if I got triggered, how I'm going to take care of myself and things like that. But we'll get into that later in the presentation. So hope is one of the most important parts of rap. And I know that at times it feels really hard to be hopeful when you're in a bad place, when things absolutely aren't going well for you. And so I would really, look to see what little things, I think, it makes more sense to make baby steps than it does to make huge strides sometimes. And thinking about hope on a smaller scale, and about the little things like the sun being out today, or no matter what it is for you, it's different for everybody, but that's the most important part of rap. So the second thing that's really important of the 5 key concepts, so hope was the first one. The second key concept is personal responsibility. So personal responsibility is taking responsibility for your own stuff, and it can be really challenging. Oftentimes, when you're looking at one of your own weaknesses or something that's been going on for you, it's really hard to take responsibility and to make changes. And so rap really forces you to look at what changes that you can make, and how do you take responsibility for some of the things that you are a part of. It's a tough one, and it takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of reflection. But I think, we all have stuff that, we may not want to take responsibility for, but that, when we start to think about it and really process it, we are able to kind of think differently about things when you take responsibility for, I'm not taking care of myself. I'm not making sure that I'm, showering every day. I'm not making sure that I, am kind to the people who have been there to support me. So I'm not taking my medicine. Like, those are all things that you can be responsible for, and taking responsibility for yourself. That is the second key concept. The third key concept is education. And so for me, education is one of the things that is hard for me to teach, especially in the beginning. So I am a social worker, I have a master's degree, education is something that's important to me, but how do you make it important to other people too? And so one of the things that I talk about a lot in RAP group is educating yourself on your medication, on all the side effects, asking questions, looking things up online. I think we're at a great time right now that we can look up everything online. Things weren't always like that. So you can look stuff up online, figure out side effects, figure out, how people get more depressed in the winter. That's something that definitely affects me. Like, how do you cope with those things? How do you make it better? And how do you know yourself well enough to educate and learn more about your illness and what's happening for you? So the first three are hope, personal responsibility, and education. The fourth one is self-advocacy. So self-advocacy is another tough one. It is, in a lot of ways, sticking up for yourself and really advocating in ways that will be beneficial to you, which some people don't even know. In the beginning of RAP, I feel like it sometimes could be get really stuck and really hard to think about, what are the things I even need to advocate more for myself. And for me personally, it really was going to a doctor's appointment, not being intimidated by the doctor, not being afraid to ask questions, writing my questions down so that I was prepared and able to ask them, even if I felt really shy and felt like I'm being pushed out the door and felt like I was wasting their time. First I would do my education, so I would research, and then I would advocate. And that is my suggestion in order to get the best care possible and to get, what you really need out of your life. Self-advocacy is such a big part. And it's not even in terms of mental health. It can be in terms of getting a job, getting a pay raise, advocating for food stamps, or advocating for, what you need in your relationship to make things better. You can use self-advocacy in all sorts of different areas. It's not just for mental health. So it's another huge part of the foundation of RAP. The last of the 5 key concepts is support. So support is people or things or objects that you have in your life that bring you happiness and bring you comfort. And we get support from all kinds of different things. I know for some people, support is really found in other people. Right now we're lucky enough to have the internet and people can go online and find support online. We have NAMI support groups. People can go to a support group and get support from peers and from other people who are going through similar situations. I find support in my pets. I really find pets comforting, and sometimes I just need a silent moment and they don't speak back to me. They just my dog will come home, she'll put her head on my lap, and that will be the support that I need sometimes. Other times support can be going out for a walk during your lunch break, or going to a yoga class, or going, eating lunch, making some time for you. You can support yourself in all sorts of different ways. And I think it gets really hard because oftentimes we have people in our lives that get burnt out, especially when you have a mental illness or you're really struggling. The people that are closest to you and that really care about you oftentimes get burnt out and it's not that they don't care about you anymore, but that they don't have time or they have their own things going on. And I think being able to find support in other ways and to be able to support yourself is such a major thing, especially if you have 3 people you can call, and if those 3 people can't do something, how do you take care of yourself? If you call a friend and they're in the middle of their own stuff and somebody else doesn't pick up the phone, what are you going to do for yourself? How are you going to take care of yourself? And that's how you start to kind of build yourself up again after you're having a hard time. So those are the 5 key concepts of RAP. So it's the foundation of it. Hope is the biggest thing, as I said before. So hope, personal responsibility, education, self-advocacy, and support. All are very important. All are kind of the foundation of how you support yourself, how you make things better for yourself. So the next stage is the wellness toolbox. So wellness tools are things that we use on a daily basis or on a weekly basis or whenever you need it to support yourself when things aren't going right. So I actually didn't bring my wellness box in here, but I have a wellness box, and it's decorated with all those things I love in it. And then inside there are cards in my wellness toolbox that say things that are personal to me that work for me when I'm in a crisis. So something like, take a walk to the beach, listen to the sound of the ocean on my phone, go for a walk, go sit in the sunlight. Sunlight is a huge thing for me, especially in the winter. So go do some exercise. Even if it's wintertime, which is really hard, go shovel the snow. Even if it doesn't need shoveling, do something to keep yourself well. And so these wellness tools are kind of the core of when things are not going right. How do you take care of yourself? How do you comfort yourself? How do you make sure you're getting enough sleep, that you're, taking care of yourself and things like that? So the wellness tools are things that you use to make yourself feel better. They can also be something like call a friend. So it doesn't just have to be things you do by yourself. It could be like go out to lunch with my friend, or go, call a friend, or go on my chat room and talk to people online, things like that. So it doesn't necessarily have to be something that you do by yourself. The next part is the daily maintenance plan. So the daily maintenance plan, there are 3 different parts to it. These are things that you do every day. So the first part is what I'm like when I'm well. So we all are different, but we all are like something when we're like a baseline, we're doing okay, things are going well. What are you like? What is your mood like? What do you like to do? How emotional are you? Like, are you up and down? Are you kind of steady? Are you happy? Are you sad? Like, what are you like when you're well? If you know what you're like when you're well, then you're able to kind of see you have something to compare it to when things aren't going so well. So the next part is the daily to-dos. So the daily to-dos are things I need to do every day. For me, every day I need to get out of bed. I can't stay in bed past 8 o'clock or else I'm gonna be in bed. The other thing I need to do is I need to shower every day. I need to brush my teeth. I need to do my hair. These are things that I do to make myself feel better, so that I get out of bed and I feel like I can have, or start at least, a productive day. The third thing is, what do I consider doing today? So I'm not gonna lie, I don't exercise most of the time. It does make me feel better when I do it. So something that I consider doing today I could consider paying my bills. I could consider going to an exercise class. I could consider hanging out with a friend. These are all things that I could consider doing, but don't have to do every day. So the daily maintenance plan kind of goes back to what I was talking about, that I have the sun post-it note in my car. These are things to remind me to do my wellness tools to take care of myself on a daily basis. Because if not, then things can escalate. And when things escalate, we'll talk about the next kind of 3 phases. But when things escalate, we aren't as healthy as we could be, and we need to do more to take care of ourselves rather than to do less to take care of ourselves. So if you work to take care of yourself on a daily basis, it's more likely that you are going to be able to take care of yourself in the long run and avoid a crisis, which is why RAP is amazing. But okay, so the next part is kind of starts to get a little bit heavier on triggers. So a trigger is something that's external that causes you to have a reaction to it. So a trigger for me would be loud noises, people yelling at each other, doors slamming, things like that. Those are all triggers. And so what triggers can do is they can make you feel like they can have you have an emotional response to it. So you can start feeling not so good, you can not be sleeping well, you can start to feel really anxious. You can have all of these responses that you either notice are happening or don't notice that are happening. The whole point of RAP is try to figure out what are your triggers so that you can identify them, so that you can work on wellness tools, so that when you are triggered, you can calm yourself down and you don't have to escalate more to the higher level. We also come up with a trigger action plan. So the trigger action plan would be, so if somebody's yelling, which happens very often in my office in Lynn, so I'm right on the street here, you hear people yelling and screaming and fighting outside. So what can I do to make myself not be triggered in the moment, is I can listen to some music, I can, play around on my phone, I can do all of these things instead of having a really emotional response to what's happening outside. It keeps me grounded. So once you're triggered, the next level up is an early warning sign. So an early warning sign, the difference between an early warning sign and a trigger is it's kind of the next step up. So an early warning sign is something intrinsic that I notice about me that is happening when I'm not doing so well. So if I'm triggered and then I'm not sleeping at night, so I haven't slept for the past, let's say, last night I didn't sleep and the night before that I didn't sleep. So 2 nights I didn't sleep. It would be an early warning sign that something's going on, like I don't feel like eating today, I haven't been sleeping so well, like something's going on. But I can manage it if I use my wellness tools and if I do my daily maintenance plan, if I recognize what's triggered me. Oh, when I was at work today, people were fighting outside, and so I was triggered. I haven't been sleeping, but I can take some action. I can go for a walk, I can exercise, I can make myself feel better so that it doesn't escalate. And so the early warning sign action plan would be an action plan that you use to kind of alleviate the early warning signs. So what I can do is I can go to yoga, I can go for a walk, I can take care of myself, I'll go to bed early, I'll drink some sleepy time tea before I go to bed, something like that to kind of calm me down, make me feel better. So the next level up from that is when things are breaking down. So say there was an early warning sign, I haven't slept for 2 nights, and then things start to get worse. So that would be the next level when things are breaking down. And so when things are breaking down is the last level that you are able to be in control of. So when things are breaking down, it'd be like, I haven't slept for 5 nights or 6 nights in a row now, and things are getting much worse for me. So the difference is the time frame, so it's lasting for longer. The frequency, it's happening more often, and the duration. So when these things are happening for longer or they're more intense, these are reasons why things might be breaking down. So now I haven't slept for 7 days and I'm really irritable and things are kind of making me annoyed and I'm snapping at my coworkers, getting really frustrated, I'm having negative thoughts about myself, and things have just kind of escalated to the next level. Oftentimes at this stage people are maybe having suicidal thoughts but don't have a plan, things like that. And so when things are breaking down, action plan would be, what can I do at this stage to help myself feel better? So this, for me, would be support from the outside. So if I hadn't slept in 7 days now, I have to go to my prescriber and make sure I get something to help me sleep so that I can kind of fix myself, reboot myself, and start to feel better. If not, things are just going to progress to the next level, which we don't want to do. So getting more medication, getting more support from the outside, maybe a partial hospital program, things that I can do to give myself more support. If that doesn't work, the next step up would be crisis. So you come up with a crisis plan. Crisis is when you no longer can make choices for yourself. So this would be when somebody needs to go inpatient for the hospital, or it could be something different. Your crisis may not be going to the hospital. It could be that you can't get out of bed and that you're really depressed. But if going to the hospital is what happens when you're in crisis, the crisis plan says things like, who will take care of your plants when you're away? Will somebody feed your dog when you're in the hospital? Who will pay your bills if that happens? Who will notify your medical providers? Who will be there when you get out to pick you up from the hospital? Things like that. And so if you have this plan in place, say I had a terrible experience at Salem Hospital, I absolutely don't want to go there. You write that in the crisis plan. The emergency room will take you to a different hospital. And the crisis plan is really cool because you can write it out, you can give it to your therapist or provider, and that way they know if you're in crisis, they can call and say, hey, Megan really does not want to go to Salem Hospital, please send her somewhere else. The post-crisis plan, it would be like after the hospitalization or after you're out of the crisis. You want to do this once you start to feel better. This is when you take a look at your whole RAD plan again. You take a look, what's changed? What did I have a bad experience wherever I was? Do I want to change it? Do I not want Susie to take care of my finances because she did a terrible job? Do I want to change things around? Do I have new wellness tools that I learned in the hospital that I want to apply next time? And so these are all things that you think about after the crisis once you're feeling better. It's really important to do it when you're feeling better because it takes a little while to get back into the groove of things. It takes people sometimes months to kind of get back. And another part of this would be like apologizing to people that were affected by, what happened. So that is my really fast 20-minute wrap. I thought that 20 minutes would be way too long, but it turns out that I had to zip right through everything to make sure that I got it done. And I want to do two things before I go. I want to give a shout out to Vida, who came up with, well, I don't know if she came up with it, but she did this, I don't even know if I can show you, but this house that, to me, I'm a very visual person. This is what helps me understand wrap and the layers that go all the way up. And this is something that helps me teach wrap, but also understand wrap for myself. And I also want to give a shout out to Lynn, because everybody from around the world does wrap, but I don't think you can really see because it's such a beautiful sunny day out. But anyways, I hope you all have a great day, and I hope you enjoyed it and learned a lot. Bye.